people saying that the month cycle was not mentioned in Genesis 1:14, and I agree, and I don't think there's an issue with that. But the month cycle was mentioned in Enoch. So when they're talking priestly order versus Enoch versus Genesis, I just want to be clear. Like, yes, Genesis 1:14 does not mention months, but Enoch does. And so does the Dead Sea Scrolls, I believe. So, but the definition of a month, according to Enoch, so I think people try to say the month isn't important, but, even though it's not mentioned in Genesis, I guess it kind of is important because it's mentioned in both the Dead Sea Scrolls and Enoch and the rest of the Bible. So, we do need to understand what month is. And so then the question becomes, well, what is the month based off of according to the Dead Sea Scrolls, or according to the people who are trying to put calendars together nowadays based off of that data? What do they call a month? Because maybe something's going on in the translation and they might just be misunderstanding it. Maybe the original writers had a different thought of what the month was. But then compare that to what Enoch says, and you see Enoch says the month is a month because of something specific the luminaries were doing. Both the sun and the moon, when he talks about month, it's the movements through the portals, not the phases necessarily. But the phases, I don't know. That's something I need to look into more. Maybe I'll have a video talking about that. But the months are results, something that results from the movement of the luminaries. So that's what Enoch says, and it was 30 days because the solar cycle was 30 days. The lunar month was 29, 30, and once 28 if there isn't something going on with the translation there, because of the movement of the luminaries. Like when he talks about the lunar month, it is associated with the movements, racing through the portals, not necessarily the phase. And so the month, making sure we're having consistency in terms and definitions, that's what Enoch says a month is. And so it was tied to the witness of the luminaries. It was not an independent thing. So these people in the Dead Sea Scroll calendars are saying, well, the month wasn't mentioned in Genesis, so we're going to just say it's a 30-day perpetual month. But then sometimes they try to tie it to Enoch and say, yeah, that's what was in Enoch. But no, I'm going to have to say I don't think that's right, because Enoch had the witness of the luminaries. Okay, and so I think either something might be being misunderstood in the translation, or the 30-day month cycle that Enoch mentioned is just being plucked out of context and used in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Like they say it's a 30-day month, and we're going to start month one when the sun is somewhere else in the portal, like not where it should be in the portals for the first day of the first month, according to what Enoch said. And for 30 days in this portal, 30 days in that portal, they're just standalone, independent, happening randomly in different portals, and it's not the same. It is not the same as one. I think that they're so closely associated, people just hear Enoch and Zadok and they think it's all the same thing, but there are two very, very different things emerging from these data sets. And Enoch has the witness of the luminaries, and this Zadok thing, it seems to be plucking the 30-day month cycle out of context and just letting it run, letting it wander through the year. Like it's not associated with the month is not associated with the portal location anymore, as is described in Enoch. It's just this independent number cycle. And so either someone can come forward and try and clarify that, or there needs to be an acknowledgement and an awareness, hopefully, that it's not in Genesis, and it's not in Enoch either. So if you're going to believe this, you need to make sure you're calling your understanding is not based off of Enoch. It is in contradiction to Enoch, and it is solely based upon this Dead Sea Scroll data, which we are in this series looking into who put that together, and what it boils down to is, essentially, are you going to go with Enoch, or are you going to go with the people who put the Dead Sea Scroll data together? And I have to side with Enoch right now. I'm open for people to bring other information forward, but Enoch is mentioned. Enoch was what caught my eye first when I started to look at the works outside of the canonized Bible, and I'm starting to look into this Dead Sea Scroll stuff now, and it's just concerning things with the community rule, talking about how they love their neighbor and hate the children of darkness. It just sounds exactly like something Yeshua was debunking, a doctrine of the day that the Pharisees had, that you've heard it said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. And so this and then Yeshua said, beware the leaven of the Pharisees. And so if they have one doctrine, this hate doctrine, you've got to be careful. They might also have a calendar doctrine, and this one piece of the puzzle that says the calendar has to start on the first day of the year. I meant to say this one piece of potential leaven that says the calendar needs to start on a specific day of the week, such as a Wednesday, could be the little bit of leaven that potentially leavens the whole calendar lump. Is what throws off the year. Doesn't match what Enoch said. The first day of the year is simply the first day of spring, and the months don't match either. Now you've got wandering months, this independent 30-day month cycle that has no witness from a luminary. So just putting that out there, making people aware of that point. Shalom as you, and Yah bless as you look into that one, get some feedback, and let's try and see if there are answers to those questions, or let's acknowledge it and raise an awareness of the leaps of faith that are needed if you're going to pursue that according to the Zadok calendar that are floating around nowadays.